Just kidding.
Hello, and welcome to Mad City Podcast. I am your host, the most Madison motherfucker you will ever meet, Patrick Kempfer. And joining me today, well, tonight, rather, it is 2 a.m. exactly on the button. I love it that whenever I look at a fucking clock, it's always like right exactly on the hour. That happens to me all the time. Uh, anyway, where was I? Oh yeah, I was introducing my guest host for this evening, the lovely Aaliyah. Aaliyah, would you like to introduce yourself and maybe say a little something to the listeners, whoever they may be?
I am the lovely Aaliyah, and I am here to learn about the Mad City podcast and get to know the most Madison motherfucker out there.
And where are you hailing from?
I hail from the sticks of Wisconsin.
The
Location
sticks.
undecided.
Location undecided.
Yes.
She is somewhere in the world of Wisconsin. She's out there. She's fighting the good fight. She's weathering the storm in the desert of conservatism, known as we call it the Wisconsin Red, as we call it. See, Madison. If you were to look during any voting period, they show these maps, and it's like red and blue, to indicate, where the liberals are, all the libtards, and and the red-blooded conservatives, all the farmers and the blue collar. I mean, we're blue collar, but we ain't no blue. I don't just wear blue because it brings out my eyes. I wear blue because it's in my heart, because I'm so liberal, and I just want everything to be free. No, not really. I appreciate, um, compassion and empathy, and looking at people like they're human beings. And I don't know. I mean, if we have to be political about that, and to be, I mean, if being a humanitarian is is being political, then I guess, yeah, we have to look at it that way. So Madison is, yeah, this little oasis of conservatism, surrounded by a desert, or no, I'm sorry, an oasis of liberalism,
Backwards.
surrounded by a desert of conservatism. Yeah, and it's interesting when you meet somebody who lives out there in the desert, and it's like, they have like their little hut of liberal mindedness, and it's just like, oh my god, you're a generous person with a kind heart. That is amazing to find out here. It's lovely. And yes, Aaliyah is very lovely. Would you like to tell us just a little? I mean, okay, you don't want to disclose exactly where you're from, but would you like to tell us maybe just a little bit more about who you are? Um, just what
I'm trying to
makes
figure
you
that out. I don't think
what.
there's, yeah.
Well, I don't know, just a little background, just what makes you you, just so people can kind of put together an image in their mind. Just some understanding, just like an abstract. of who you are?
I am the American dream.
You're
I
the
am
American. Okay.
I am I'm the child of immigrants. I'm a successful woman. I'm a mother. I'm a sister. I'm a daughter. And I'm just here living life, trying to be good to people and trying to get some goodness back into my life.
Good. How's that going for you?
hmm Recently, pretty good.
Good. Good.
Yeah.
Excellent. Uh, well, hey, do me a favor, and I want you to just go into just a little bit more detail, just kind of like uh, because I forgot my coffee in the microwave. So while I'm grabbing that, I want you to just talk a little bit about how you've been coping with the pandemic, because for our listeners out there to understand this, yeah, she is currently out in rural Wisconsin. I'm located in Madison, and we're accomplishing this uh, through Zoom. Thank you, Zoom. I'd like to say that Zoom has been a huge help for me in maintaining connection and some sanity in my life by way of being able to communicate with people through Zoom. I can maintain my relationships with family, with friends, just to say hi. It's also a way for me to to continue attending and participating in recovery meetings, which is just huge for me in my life, and definitely not as good as what what it could be, especially in the meetings that I go to. One of the things that we always say is like, we hug here, and obviously people aren't really hugging a whole lot these days, but so yeah, it's sort of a sorry excuse to be video chatting, but at least we can feel represented and close to each other in whatever way that we can. So in what ways, Aaliyah, would you say that you've been able to cope uh, during the pandemic? Um, not just being somebody who's in the sticks and everything, but like how are some of the things you've had? What are some of the things you've had to do, you and your family, to continue to exist, to stay sane, where you're at?
Hmm. Well, definitely knowing who you can be around and who you can trust and just keeping your circle small. So I've kept my circle small. I have two groups of friends that I've stayed in regular contact with, go over to each other's houses, which I know it's not the best, but you got to do something to stay sane. Um, and just keeping your circle small but being sane also when you live in the middle of nowhere, because I could go damn house and I take my kids to the beach a lot. There's a beach near where I live, and just being able to normalize life in the pandemic as much as you can. I mean, we're really lucky that we didn't have the same kind of shutdowns they had overseas. Well, lucky that's the whole political discussion, I suppose. Maybe we were stupid to not lock down like Europe did. But that being said, living out in a rural area, you can be a little bit more adventurous, perhaps. So we just really tried to keep our minds right through all of it.
Well, I have to concur a little bit. Yeah, I don't know. Yeah. I don't know if I'd say that we were lucky that we didn't have to suffer such a strict lockdown. But perhaps if we had taken those measures and taken this more seriously from the start, we wouldn't be in the situation that we're in now, and that sucks. But I don't want to get too much into the politics of things because it's just been talked out so much, and it's exhausting, and
Mm-hmm.
it doesn't take anybody clever to point out just how fucked up things have gotten in all of that, and for people who support the unreasonable, uh I just I don't really have time for you. It's like, I mean, I'll entertain an argument for a little bit, just only really just because I'm fascinated by how illogical people can be. It's just like, wow, like they should be like there should be like a case study on you, you know, like I want to dissect your brain a little bit and just see what makes up somebody who could be so perversely like grotesquely ridiculously fucking stupid, just like how are you just able to be so delusional? It's incredible. It's amazing. um yeah, but unfortunately, while you were talking about that, Aaliyah, you were kind of cutting out a little bit. So I hope people kind of were able to still get the gist of what you were saying. But yeah, the difficulties of maintaining, trying to maintain relationships with friends and people in your community, while being safe, um, about it. Is yeah, it's complex. I Last year in April, I went to Missouri, and it was ideal in the moment because me and my then partner, um, Aria, we were trying to get a farmhouse in Mount Horeb, and that ended up kind of falling apart. The option to do that, and that was a bummer because I fell in love with this house. It would have been great, but ultimately I'm glad that didn't become a thing because that relationship wasn't really meant to last, and I'm glad that she and I are doing different things now. And my understanding is that she's happy in her life and doing well, and that's good. But as a last resort measure, we ended up leaving the state and going to Missouri to stay with a friend of mine who lives way. I mean, you talk about living out in the sticks, Aria. I mean, this was like, like you have to drive like 50 miles just to get to a town, you know. And yeah, so we went out there, to get away from everything, just everything, just all the ridiculousness.
Mm-hmm.
And this was like shortly after, like the lockdowns really started. And I was still recuperating from, being sick myself,
Mm-hmm.
and thought like, okay, well, yeah, being around the least amount of people as possible is a good idea. And so we went out there, and it was cool. I got to shoot a gun for the first time. Uh, well, a rifle, and a couple different rifles, and that was neat. I Turns out I'm actually a pretty good shot. I never would have thought that. Um, but but yeah, it was interesting though to see all these country bunk folk not taking any of the shit seriously, you know. But seeing how my friend and her family were able to try to maintain some semblance of connection to the people around them, like like her mom and her stepdad like live near them, you know, uh, and the way they would see each other and communicate was very weird. It was kind of like DoorDash, you know, kind of like that kind of thing. um, the kids were doing the online learning, and that was just really really challenging.
Stressful. Yeah,
Yeah,
been there, done
for,
that.
for everybody. I mean, like the kids having a hard time like staying focused, and the parents trying to keep them focused, and like entertained with I don't know. It's just, and then taking in two other people on top of that, and me and my friend Beth, we don't really communicate a whole lot anymore. Like we didn't. I don't want to say we had a falling out, because we're still friends, and we'll be friends forever. We love each other, but you know, she was not pleased with my behavior. I was still pretty low in my life, and I was addicted to alcohol at the time. I was like physically, like chemically dependent, so I needed to maintain some drinking, like on a daily basis. Otherwise, I'd get very unpleasant feeling, and just intolerable to be around too. I wasn't like, and when I would drink, I'd go, get over the. I mean, I'm intense and over the top as it is, but like sometimes I get a little lippy with people, and unreasonable. So yeah, I made things complicated and uncomfortable, and I'm sorry for that. But then there were some other things that happened too, concerning uh, my girlfriend, and some things that just went on that just made everything just worse, and it all kind of escalated, made everything sort of escalate to a point where it's like, we ended up, she left, she wanted to leave, and I wanted to leave, and I was like, well, I'm not staying here without you. like like they don't want me to, like they don't want us to be here now because of the shit that you've pulled, and I don't want to be here now that things have gotten so fucking weird, and I definitely don't want to live just here in the Trump land by myself, and like in a place by myself, way the hell out here. I'm this, oh God, this is just, no. Let's just go back home. And, things developed for me in a much different way after we came back and broke up and all that stuff. But whatever. It's been a crazy ride for all of us trying to manage our lives through this pandemic and maintain friendships and sanity, work, school, livelihoods, all these things, and while watching the world around us seemingly crumble and fall apart, it's like, how do we stay positive? How do we keep things together? Like, what motivates us to get out of bed, you know, in the mornings, and put a smile on our face, and try to be pleasant and caring with each other. It's hard, but there's little things we can do, despite the craziness, that we can focus on, and it can bring us together. uh I've heard of a few different stories happening, in the world and around us that are amusing enough. Oh, my computer is telling me that my internet connection is unstable. That's not good.
Like your sanity.
Yeah, right. Um, but I mean, like little things happen that are really cool. Like for example, tonight, I was at work, and while I was about to go fetch some carts to make sure that we had an ample supply inside for our customers at the store that I work at, somebody comes in and says, "Hey, there's a dog outside." I'm like, okay. I look and I can see out the entrance door that yes, there is in fact a dog out there, and a very very happy dog with a big branch in its mouth, just dying for somebody to play with it. And I'm thinking like, oh, okay, well, maybe it followed somebody that walked to the store because I mean, I work at like a neighborhood store. Yeah, it's like a chain. It's like I mean, it has like a corporate entity, to it, but it's very much like a neighborhood grocery store. And a lot of people walk there, bike there, from the neighborhood surrounding it. And I'm thinking like, okay, maybe somebody just walked over, biked over, and like maybe they left their dog just sitting outside chilling, and now the dog's just excited, because people are coming in and out. Or maybe the person came here and they didn't know that their dog was following them. Maybe the dog was in a car and was like presumably chilling in the car, and then figured out how to get out, and now it's like looking for its person. And I get outside and I'm petting this dog, and like it drops down on its back, and it's like, oh, rub my belly, rub me underbelly, and no, and look at the steak, look at the steak, look at the steak. It was just, it was super cute. And I pulled the dog over, and I looked at the tags, and I called, and come to find out this person had left to go to the store, but not this one. So I call up and I'm like, "Hi, do you have a dog?" They're like, "Yeah." "Do you know where your dog is?" Um, well, and I could hear like the guy, like he was talking to me, and I could hear his wife or whatever in the background, like, "Oh my God, no! Did she really? Did she again?" And I'm like, so yeah, like he's like, "Yeah, I think she might have followed me out when I went to the store." I'm like, "Oh, so are you in the pick and save now?" And he's like, "Well, no, I'm not at pick and save." I'm like, "Oh, well, your dog is." He's like, "Oh, Jesus." I'm like, "I'll chill with her here, until you come get her." And they showed up in just a few minutes. But it was really cute though. It was really neat to like just to meet this dog that just totally just wanted a friend. Just wanted somebody to play with it, and have a good time, and just see this big stick that she had found. And yeah, it was delightful. Put a smile on my face. And everybody else that was involved in the situation, well, except for the guy so much. He wasn't too thrilled. Um but he seemed like a nice enough guy though. He wasn't like he didn't get shitty with her or anything. Like, fucking dog making me have to leave the house. He wasn't cruel. You can tell that this dog is definitely loved. Um, and he was being patient with her. But little things like that can bring us joy. And some things aren't so pleasant, but they can still bring us joy, and make us smile, if maybe perhaps in a somewhat cynical way. Aaliyah, if you check, you see the story that I shared with you here. uh this 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 is very unfortunate. Yeah, some people have really odd ways of passing the time. I mean, yeah, we all need hobbies and things that we're interested in. Some people choose to involve themselves in things that are maybe not the most legal or safe or
Oh my.
moral, but that doesn't mean that they can't be entertaining. So yeah, here's a story from way across the pond. Headline: A rooster stabbed a man to death with a knife during a cockfight. Now that's that. I mean, if that headline doesn't grab you, I don't know. So this is from like a couple weeks ago, or well, a little over a week ago, February 28th. Story comes to us from Julie Gerstein reporting. Okay, so a rooster fitted with a knife around its foot stabbed its owner to death during practice for an illegal cockfight in India. Thangala Satish, Satish? I'm not sure how to pronounce that.
Satish.
Satish? Okay.
Satish.
Satish, 45,
Yeah.
died of blood loss after the rooster repeatedly stabbed him in the groin, ouch, with a 3-inch knife that had been tied around the animal's leg, according to the Associated Press. Satish was among 16 people organizing the cockfight in the village of Lathunur in the Indian state of Telangana, the
I
AP
think you're right.
reported. Okay. Yeah, I'm pretty good on pronunciations for the most part. I'm not good at rolling my tongue, so when it comes to like Spanish words, sometimes it kind of falls apart on me. Authorities are currently searching for the other 15 organizers who could be charged with manslaughter. They each face up to 2 years in prison, according to Al Jazeera. Animal rights activists say the sport is especially cruel because it takes advantage of the birds' natural survival mechanisms in forcing them to fight. Well, duh. I mean, isn't that true for like any situation where you pit, like people together? Like, yeah, I mean, like look at MMA shit. I mean, like, yeah, they're gonna rely on their instincts, their natural instincts, to not get their fucking asses whooped. I mean, they don't. I mean, the idea isn't to kill each other till the to fight till the death necessarily, but I mean, the instinctual element is there. Like, yeah, don't lose. Anyway, to
Well,
match
roosters are mean.
the what are
Roosters,
roosters?
they're mean. I raised chickens for a while,
Yeah.
and we had multiple roosters, and those things are nasty. They will attack you. You don't have to do anything. They'll just come at you. So it does not surprise me.
Well, I'll be like, come at me, bro.
When they're
Fucking.
charging you and your kids, you're like, get out of here. They're so mean.
I think I could. I think I could take a rooster.
We had named him Tim Curry, which I think was probably a mistake because he had like the spirit of Pennywise and he would just come after us.
The spirit of Pennywise and the presence of God. I really know what the character's name was. The devil.
Oh yeah.
Yeah, Tim Curry's character
Darkness, the
in
darkness.
Legend, the Darkness. Yeah.
Yes, that was the darkness.
Mm. Is that what he called himself? The Darkness?
I think that's the technical name in the credits. I don't
Okay.
think he ever called himself that.
Well, he looked fucking amazing. I don't know how he was able to keep his head up with those horns, but yeah, very menacing. All right, so to make matches gorier, some cockfighting trainers fit their birds with what's known as gaff, Gaff, a long dagger-like knife attached to the animal's foot. Birds often will have many of their feathers plucked out before matches to make it more difficult for their opponents to attack, according to the ASPCA. They are also sometimes drugged with methamphetamines. Oh, that's good. Bunch of fucking tweaked out cocks.
They're already
Fucking-
nasty without being
Yeah.
drugged.
No shit. They are also sometimes drugged with methamphetamines to enhance their aggressiveness. Even birds that win their matches often suffer injuries so severe that they too are killed. Despite India's Supreme Court outlawing the practice in the 1960s, cockfighting continues to be popular in many of the country's southern states. Oh, so making something illegal doesn't necessarily make it go away. Oh, that's weird. That's been so huh. Yeah, it's been so successful in the American judicial system. I mean, that war on drugs is just woo. Wow, they are just killing it, aren't they? I don't know. I guess it depends on your perspective. It's all those privatized
Say no.
prisons. All those privatized prisons, they're doing pretty good. Okay, so in the U.S., cockfighting is considered a felony in 42 states. I wonder if Wisconsin is one of them.
I don't know, but you can own a kangaroo without a permit.
Really? Oh, that's awesome. Did you know that kangaroos can't hop backwards?
I did not know that.
I don't know if that's true. A comedian said that, and he also said, I don't know if that's true, but who knows? You might, it might be. So yeah, if cockfighting isn't illegal in Wisconsin, should we put something together?
God, no, I don't want chickens anymore. They're really
Well,
dirty.
well, no, I mean we don't have to keep them at your house. I mean we could just organize the
But I
fight.
have a coop. I have a coop and all of the chicken. I truck in chicken husbandry, so I have all of the necessary tools for keeping chickens alive.
Well, I mean
Just minus the chickens.
we don't have to keep them alive for long, just long enough to have like a fight. And we'll make bank. I could promote it. I mean, no.
Nah,
Well,
not interested.
we'll see how the summer develops with COVID, and we'll see if the restrictions go down. Anyway, so in the U.S., cockfighting is considered a felony in 42 states, though federal authorities continue to regularly break up fighting rings around the country. In August of last year, the Los Angeles Sheriff's Department busted a ring with more than 2,000 birds, USA Today reported. Authorities in New York, in a 2014 sting they dubbed Operation Angry Birds, very clever, arrested more than 70 people and confiscated more than 3,000 birds, the New York Post reported. This is not the first time a bird handler has been killed by a gamecock. Last year, a 55-year-old Indian man from Andhra Pradesh died after a gamecock slashed him in the neck and abdomen during a match held to mark the Hindu festival of Makar Sankranti. Sankranti? I don't know. And in 2018, a 34-year-old man from
Rajavaram,
India, bled to death after a rooster gaff pierced his thigh and testicles. And that's the end of the story.
Oof.
You end with
That's a
pierced
terrible.
his thigh and testicles.
I feel like there's no closure.
I know. For real. They just ended.
I'm left wanting more.
Yeah, right. And then what happened? I want to know what happened to the bird? Like about this guy, the one that was killed. I mean, like, did they?
I have
kill the bird?
confusion.
Yeah. And this wasn't even at like a real cockfight. This was just like a training match.
I need closure. I need to know what happened. And
yeah, that's all
what are we going to do about this? Are we going to stop cockfighting now? Like so many follow-up questions and no answers.
Yeah, I mean this story really just kind of gave us, the Indian man died after being stabbed by a rooster he was training for cockfighting. The rooster had been outfitted with a 3-inch knife on its leg. And though cockfighting is illegal in most countries, it continues to attract fans. And
it is illegal in the state of Wisconsin.
Oh.
Engaging in animal fighting is punishable with a fine of up to $10,000. and a prison sentence of up to 6 years.
Ooh, okay. All right. Good to know. Good to know. All right, so everybody
Well, now
listening,
it's
just know that just don't tell anybody that you're coming to this cockfight that we're gonna host. Okay,
there's no hosting of cockfights.
just don't go public with it.
Not happening.
When you RSVP, just don't make it public. Yeah, just like friends of friends.
I do
Do
not
that.
endorse this conversation.
I don't know. Let's maybe what else is in the news? Maybe something more local, perhaps.
Local news. I saw a bald eagle the other day. That's what you see in the sticks.
You saw a bald eagle?
Yeah, I see them all the time. There's tons of them by me.
Was it hunting or what?
They're always in the fields eating dead deer.
I mean, I'm assuming it was flying when you saw it.
No, it was sitting in a field, in a cornfield, eating a dead deer carcass.
Oh, it was just munching.
Yes.
Oh, okay, cool. So it was taking a little break.
Yeah. They don't fly all the time, you know. Birds sit down.
What? I thought they slept
What?
flying.
See, I'm teaching you all about what it's like to be a redneck.
To be you know, I don't like that term. That's a mean-spirited, derogatory term, and I'm not sure if we should. I'm not sure if we should be using that in this forum. Now, if you want to say hick,
I've seen conflicting arguments that it is not a derogatory term, that it has become made derogatory, and that the original rednecks were actually liberal union organizers who were trying to better rights for the workers. So it's been co-opted as a derogatory term, but it's really potentially not.
Oh, so is this kind
So
of
I'm going to
like
argue with you. Counterpoint.
all right? So is this like one of those situations though where like they're like the group
More
wants
research needs to be done before you call me out.
right, but I mean, is it one of those situations where like the group themselves are stating like, no, we like this word and we're taking it back, like kind of like queer, or like bitch, like yeah, I'm a bitch, I'm a badass bitch, like that kind of thing, or even like I mean like like
Yeah,
black
maybe in
people
that
like
vein.
like even black people
No, I
in circles
don't even, no, I don't like that word.
we'll soften the R, you know. Something you don't really hear a lot is Jews calling it that's you don't really I mean Jews make fun of Jews, but like they don't call each other kikes. Like I just think I maybe because it's just such a silly sounding word, perhaps. I don't know. But you know what I think is interesting is a derogatory term that is really a compliment if you think about it. When people refer to Mexicans as wetbacks, you know, like it's like why? Because like they bust their asses, because like they're hard workers, because they're willing to take a job that you would never fucking do in a million years because you're a lazy fat American. Like they're willing to sweat for their pay. I mean, like I don't know. Doing backbreaking work, I mean, should be commended. Like fucking. Or is that something that is like exclusive maybe to like uh Dominicans or Cubans or something, maybe because like they swam the 90 miles kind of is that the rationale with it? I don't know. I'm not sure what the logic is with a lot of, you know, uh, racial incendiary terms. I know that honky. I know where honky comes from. Do you know that one?
I do not. I have not educated myself in derogatory terms because I try not to use them.
Well, no. I mean, I
But I
I
know this
don't.
is all spurred by me using one, I suppose.
Well, yeah, actually, yeah, yeah, it was, yeah, yeah. See, you started this because you're an intolerant, closed-minded
You started
redneck.
it.
Yeah, maybe all those Trumpists up there, they're starting to infect your way of thinking. You're sliding. You're like, oh, I know this is acceptable. This is fine. It's okay.
Oh, believe me, I'm a first generation American.
Oh, yeah, and you know what? I voted for a black guy once, so actually twice. If I'm being honest, I'll make any mistake twice. No, I'm just kidding. No, actually, the real thing is I'll do anything 8 times, even if it's bad. But I definitely don't regret voting for Obama, even though his drones did definitely kill a lot of innocent people. There's no mistaking that. But hey, nobody's perfect. So what was I saying?
Moving on.
Oh yeah, honkies. So when cars
Oh, you're
were,
going to talk about this art?
oh yeah, no, I am going to talk about this article, but just really
Okay.
briefly, honky comes from it was a term that was bestowed upon uppity white people who, in their I guess just being just so excited to have the privilege of owning automobiles when they were still new and fresh in American culture. They would go and drive through uh like the black neighborhoods, and they would honk their horns to try to gain the attention of what at least they interpreted as being, and maybe maybe some were out there doing their thing, but they were trying to find, basically sex workers, like hookers, and they would honk, and that was a way to get their attention, to come over. Um, and some did it just to wake people up in the middle of the fucking night, just to be dicks, just to be awful, shitty fucking rednecks. I mean, I guess maybe that's better than waking somebody up with burning a cross. Maybe they'd set the cross on fire and then honk the horn to get everyone to say, "Hey, look what I did! I set something on fire in front yard." Dur, 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 dur. But yeah, so like the black community started referring to them as honkies, which I think I think is pretty funny. And cracker goes back to slave days. That's what they called like the overseer, the person that would be out there in the fields keeping the slaves in line with the whip. So I mean that's pretty self-explanatory. Um, but yeah, we sure do like cheese here in Wisconsin. Cheese goes good with crackers. Makes sense. See, I think, honestly, if I were to get into the whole QAnon thing, I'd start to, I think I could start making sense of some of that, because, yeah, you got to read between the lines. Read between the lines. I'm not crazy. It's not crazy if everybody thinks it. All right, so moving on to local news. This is a great headline in the crime section of what is this? Channel 3000 reported. Man arrested after walking naked in strangers' yards says he was, quote, out for some fresh air. Sometimes you gotta let those balls breathe, especially when, it's warming up like this. All right, so here we go. Madison, Wisconsin. Hey, I know a guy from there. A man says he was out for some fresh air when he was arrested after walking naked through strangers' backyards on the Madison's north side Friday night. Madison police say 40-year-old Robert C. Anderson, good old Bob, was seen climbing over fences and walking around just after 11 p.m. Friday near Packers Avenue. Anderson reportedly said he was out for some fresh air when asked why he was naked in a stranger's backyard. He was taken to a local hospital for an evaluation before being booked into the Dane County Jail. He faces possible charges of lewd and lascivious behavior and a violation of his probation. Oh, so apparently this guy's already a troublemaker. Oh, and that's it. The story ends. Well, I definitely want to follow
There's
up
no
on this
closure
one.
in these Madison stories. Or well, no,
None
wait,
of
the other story
none of
wasn't
these
Madison, but
stories. Yeah, I mean, see, this is the thing that I in my training in journalism, like I mean, I understand the necessity for news reporting, but when it comes to shit like this, it's like it's so dry, you know? It's like I won an award for collegiate journalism when I wrote for my college paper uh for covering a story about a rally. It was the Take Back the Bike Path rally, and I won an award for that, but not for news reporting. It was like uh for like op-ed editorial, um, and it's yeah for well opinion piece. I was an opinion editor, so yeah for like editorial writing, but I wrote it with the intention of reporting it as like news. Um, the the official, the college official, I can't remember exactly what his title was. He wasn't the editor in chief, but he was like the staff person. Um, I remember him commenting saying that it wasn't news reporting because it was basically too eloquent. My eloquence strikes again, and yeah, like I was too poetic with my writing. I was too illustrative in my words, I guess. Um, but it's really good. It's really good. It can be found in the archives, the Clarion archives. If anybody cares to Google that, just go ahead and Google my name, Patrick R. Kempfer, or just Patrick Kempfer, and Clarion, Clarion, and it'll show you archives, and you can scroll through. You'll find some topics, some pieces that I've actually uh, refurbished for the podcast here. Definitely, if not inspired, totally just borrowed from. But it's only because the things that I was talking about then are still prevalent now, which is sad that they still need to be talked about in the way that they do. But at least we have places that we can talk about them from. It's good to have a forum. So going back to this man, this Mr. Anderson, climbing over fences and wandering around naked, just out for some fresh air. I love that was the quote. So I have a story that I'd like to share from a few years ago. What was it? I think it was. Uh, I'm gonna say maybe June. Hmm. Yeah, maybe June of 2016. I was living over on Carver Street off of Fish Hatchery Road, um, right near the edge of the Arboretum. And right down the street from me was this, like that goes along the road there. It's one of the entrances to the arboretum, and there's this, this pond. And Aaliyah, I was telling you about this pond earlier. It's where I tossed that small framed mirror that I found years ago that I
Hmm.
eventually became convinced was possibly cursed in some way because of all the crazy shit that happened to me after I brought it into my home. Yeah, it had some weird energy. It had like a weird reflection too. It was very dark, you know? Like, you know what I mean? Like when you look in a
Yet,
mirror,
yet
usually
you're still bringing home strange mirrors.
I know, and I did it again today. Yeah, I found a much larger, like this is something that, like, I mean, somebody could feasibly crawl out of.
You
You
don't
know?
learn very well, do you?
No, no, I don't. Like I said, I'll try anything 8 times. So,
So
so
6 more mirrors to go.
yeah, right. Um, well, as long as they don't break them, I mean, they should be fine. So, so yeah, no, I ended up tossing that mirror. I wrapped it in a black garbage bag and tossed it in there in hopes of somehow defeating whatever spirit thing or trapping it, and I threw it in this pond. But anyway, so in early summer of maybe it was May, I don't know, it could have been May 2016. I decided after years and years of being completely abstinent from all the drugs and even spending a hell of a lot of time not smoking even. I decided that something that I wanted to return to, that I was opening my mind back up to experimenting with, was psychedelics. And I'd been researching, you know, about microdosing with psilocybin, LSD. I was even looking into a possible experience with ayahuasca. Like it would be like a group experience, and that intrigued me. However, the idea of going off with and even though, like, there'd be like two people there that would be guides, um, not knowing these people on a personal level and then being there with a group of other individuals that I wouldn't know offhand. Now, I mean, not to say that, like, simply knowing someone prior to tripping balls with them, you know, by virtue of that fact, it doesn't guarantee a better experience. But I decided ultimately that I would rather just go on this venture on my own, because it is a very personal thing to open up your mind and look in your soul like that. And it's something that should never be taken lightly or done in a recreational um, sense. It's something that should be taken very seriously, and don't just, yeah, man, I'm just eat some mushrooms and I'm just gonna look at the lights, man, because that's what, let's watch the wall, or let's eat some mushrooms and you know watch a musical or something. Like that's stupid and reckless. And the thing about opening those doors is sometimes you don't know how to close them again. And a lot of people are not prepared for what they're going to see when they open those doors, and they end up having really bad experiences because they can't um they have a hard time accepting what their minds show them, like the honest true versions of themselves, or maybe some sort of dark element of themselves that they've been avoiding, or simply unable to look at for a long time, or maybe it's just didn't even know it was there.
Do you know what this is reminding me of?
What's that?
The scene in the scene in the Never-Ending Story where Atreyu looks in the mirror.
Mm.
Do you remember that?
Kind
And he
of.
sees Bastion on the other side, and it's when the two boys like realize they're telling a parallel story. It's just funny to me that that's what came to mind because you're telling a story about a mirror. Anyway, continue. Sorry.
Oh. Well, actually, no. The story has less to do with the mirror. The only thing that is the pond. No, the story has more to do with a crazy man running around a neighborhood naked. Yeah, that's where this is going.
Oh,
So
great.
yeah, so I decided that I was gonna eat some acid again for the first time in years by myself. And well, I had done it once before. I had taken a single dose, and it was okay. I mean, it wasn't extreme. It was a pleasant experience, but it didn't open me up in a way that I was satisfied with. Like it didn't like there were no revelations. Like I like to get my hands dirty when I go poking around in my mind, and I know that that's a dangerous thing to do. Trust me, I fully appreciate how dangerous that is, on many levels, not just like from a physical standpoint. Like people can harm themselves while under the influence of psychedelics. They might have a hallucination that they find to be very threatening, and in an effort to protect themselves, end up hurting themselves or hurting someone else. Um, I was I was an Uber driver at the time. I didn't pick up any passengers while I was tripping, but I did when I took the one dose. I took it earlier in the night, and then did have to drive home while while on acid. And it was like, you ever play Mario Kart on like Super Nintendo?
A million years ago.
Okay, you remember like like the star uh um uh whatever you call it, the Star Trek? No, not Star Trek. The star God damn it, what do you call those? Like the different levels that you could
I do not remember.
laps or whatever.
Okay.
The roads, like the different, like Star, I think it was called Star Road.
Okay.
So it was like you're driving on this road, and it was like all like very kind of windy and like up and down, kind of Dr. Seussy. And there's like like star elements, but it was like sort of translucent, and yeah, and everything is disproportioned. And it was kind of like that. Like I was driving down the road, and I'm like, well, this is interesting. Like I've been in a car while being on acid before, but I've never been behind the wheel. This is probably not the safest thing I've done. Uh, but I managed well. I mean I've always been pretty successful in driving drunk, because the thing about learning how to drive in Wisconsin, especially with the harsh winters that we have, is you have to first learn how to drive, understanding and appreciating that, like, the car is basically an extension of you, um, and appreciating the weight of the car and the damage that can happen if it, happens to plow into something or go over something. Um, but, you have to learn how to drive through the elements, and then you have to learn how to drive drunk. And Wisconsin being, the drinking state that it is, the proud drinking state that it is. I mean, we have what, 6 cities out of like the top 20 drunkest cities. six, I think, or something, or like in the top 10.
It's up there.
Yeah. Um, so yeah, it's kind of, it's sort of a rite of passage. At some point, you have to know how to drive drunk, which is basically just closing one eye. Just close one eye. You know, take it slow, but don't take it too slow. You don't want to like be too. It's like going too cautious. You could end up in just as much trouble. And I don't mean like legal trouble. I mean like in an accident. But anyway, so this other time I decided I needed to up the stakes and push it a little farther, and so I took two. Well, I took the one, and then I was like, you know what? I didn't quite get where I wanted to go the first time, so I'm gonna, yeah, I think I'm gonna take this because I got two. And here's an interesting thing about this event as well. I went to go get them from my friend, who had a line on that, and she wasn't there when I got there. Somebody else was, and they gave them to me, having been given like instructions, knowing that I was coming, and I was like, oh, okay, so, oh shit, I forgot to stop, at an ATM on the way here. I'll go grab, some cash. I'll be right back. And my friend is like, no, man, you can just have these. And there's something special about that. Um, when when a psychedelic is gifted to you, it means something else. It's not, you're not just buying a product that you're going to consume. It's special in that way that it's kind of hard to explain, but it means more, you know. Like it's indicative of being more of like a pivotal moment, and it was, and I'll go on to explain. So I was gifted this, and I took the one, and shortly after, maybe half an hour, I was like, no, I think I'll take the other one too. And within, I don't know, a couple of hours, I was full on into it. I mean, deeply into my psyche, and pulling back the layers, and getting dirty in my mind, and seeing some things that I hadn't been able to look at for a long time. Up until this point, I had a lot of success in recovery and in my community, and gotten a lot of accolades and attaboys and all that stuff. But a lot of tragedy had come along with it, and I dealt with some of it pretty gracefully and some of it not so much. And because of my standing in the community, I was unable to communicate how how much I was struggling and how much I was suffering with a lot of that stuff, because I was, I felt like I was kind of like the poster child for, this being this great success story. And I didn't want to disappoint, people, or so many people looked up to me. I didn't want to be, I didn't want to, it's like I didn't want to share my weakness, because it was like, oh, well, if he can fall apart, I mean, it was like, if he can make it, anybody can. But oh, if he can fall apart, then anybody can, you know. And so I was really struggling to hold on to my legacy, if you will, my reputation, and I regret that very much so. And I think because I was keeping this big secret of the keeping my pain, my struggle such a secret, it was poisoning me, and I had to look at that. And I've been feeling very isolated, very alone in all of that. And taking the acid, allowed me to examine this. And I ended up coming to some interesting revelations. And I came to the conclusion that part of the reason why I had survived my life up until that point, all of the close calls, the at that point was up to 13 overdoses from just heroin, a couple cocaine overdoses. I survived um, 3 drownings, 2 occasions where I was struck by vehicles. Um, I'm not really sure if this is the right word. I mean, I would say electrocuted, but somebody says that technically, if you're electrocuted, you're dead. So I guess I was shocked. I mean, electricity passed through my body in a pretty violent way that was unexpected. It wasn't like, like I was. Well, okay, no, there was one time I did a study for UW where I allowed myself to be electrocuted, and they said that I took a higher voltage than anybody else had. But that was actually pretty safe. But yeah, I've been stabbed. I've been beaten. Nothing seems to kill me, no matter how hard I try. That's a quote, actually, Chris Cornell. And obviously, that did not turn out to be completely true for him. May he rest in peace. And that's a topic for another day. I have some theories about his death. Not that like I'm a big conspiracy theorist, but I have questions of it. But anyway, yeah, how did I survive all this stuff? And I sort of came to this conclusion that when I do finally die, it'll kind of be because of my will, like because I allow it. I think a big reason why I've managed to stay alive through all of this shit isn't because I'm just the luckiest motherfucker in the world, or because people love me so much that they're always willing to save my ass, or because of uh, angels or demons, the fucking magic looking out for me. I think a lot of it is just like, no, I refuse to go down, and I won't until it's something that I accept for myself. When I choose to stop breathing, I will. As long as there's a breath in my body, I will push on. So there was that. But then I came to this other sort of conclusion. And this is an interesting one because I'm an atheist. Now, I was born technically Jewish because of my father's mother. But I guess logistically, I couldn't be Jewish because my mother's not Jewish. But my father's mother was Jewish. But that didn't matter because, like early in my life, my father died, and I was raised by mainly my mom and, her family, who were all a bunch of Catholics. So, Jew, raised Catholic, and becomes an atheist, right? And I've been the intolerable atheist, the shitty atheist, like basically like the fundamental Christian version of an atheist, where I'm just such a dick. It's like you're fucking stupid if you fucking believe in God. Like, basically like to be so audacious, to have the same audacity and certainty, to speak with such certainty that there is no God. Condemning those who believe in God, be like, well, how can you fucking, why do you fucking act so certain? That's the thing that disgusts me about fucking Christians sometimes, is like, it's like they act so certain. It's like, how you can't know. You can think, you can feel, you can believe, but you can't know. Don't act like it's a fact. And don't try to push it on me like it's a fucking fact. But then to turn around and say like, no, with like absolutes, like, no, there is no God, as if that's something that I can prove. I can't. So I've eased up on that. I've learned the error of my ways because, I don't want to be a fucking hypocrite or an asshole. And if there is any truth to the teachings of Jesus, like whether he was a real guy who walked around and said things, uh, the ideas are good, the practices are good. Don't be a fucking douchebag. Yeah, I can adhere to that. Um, don't be a fucking hypocrite. Have integrity. So anyway, I was thinking though this particular night about a lot of things, and as the sun was rising, a lot of new representations and ideas and thoughts crept into my head, and this notion that it's all true, like the biblical stories, like the folklore, the mythology of God and creation was true to some degree, not in all the particulars, uh but it was like based in a truth that was like beyond like full comprehension. And this idea that we had been expelled from paradise, that was like a miscommunication. It wasn't that. It's more like we ran away out of fear and an inability to admit our mistakes, or our um basically, look at it like this. Let's pretend that the Garden of Eden was kind of a thing, and let's not say it was like a tree of knowledge and a forbidden fruit, but let's say it was like God's stash, you know, God's private stash. He's like, hey, you can have all these plants and seed bearing plants and herbs. You can use them, do whatever you want. I mean, like, yeah, some of them will get you real fucked up, and that's cool. You can eat these, and that'll fucking make you go, ooh, look at the funny colors. And then these over here, you can do whatever you want with those, and you'd be like, wow, man, I feel so chill, and that's fine. Some of these over here, like, they'll help you work real, real hard if you want to harvest some stuff. Like these will help you harvest. These will help you move a lot and help you harvest the things that'll help you chill. And that's fine. But there are some things that are just maybe a little too strong for you. Maybe some things that you don't need to fuck with. And if you look at the proximity of biblical stories taking place in areas like what is now Pakistan, Afghanistan, Iran, I'm sorry, Iran, if I'm pronouncing that correctly. Uh, this is a place these are deserts that have not all of them, just saying, but it's like desert areas with like beautiful oases where things can grow. And I've read up a lot about how like there were some areas that looked way different thousands of years ago that had rivers and fields where things grew that are barren now. But so yeah, I mean, there's no one can really say like how things have changed is so much. I mean, but knowing that this is a region that where poppies grow naturally and are easy to grow makes me wonder if this forbidden fruit was not in fact the poppy. And maybe that's what Adam and Eve got themselves into. and and when God, you know, left him alone for a little while, came back and like, hey, did you guys fuck with my stash? What? No, man, I don't know what you're talking about, bros. No, we were over there. We were just chilling, and what? No, what? No, your stash? Oh, you mean the? Oh, well, no, well, your friend said that it was cool actually if we tried. No, he said he knew you. Like he said you guys were tight. No, what? No, man. Ah. And then, by now they're all strung out. Like they've developed habits and they're fucking like scratching themselves and God's like, you know what? Fuck it. You are a fucking liar. And leave it to a junkie to try to, like only a junkie will steal your shit and then try to help you look for it. Right? Believe me, I've been in that situation. It's like, yo, you looked under that ashtray 5 times. I don't think my dope is under there. But yeah, maybe they were just embarrassed. They felt bad. They were ashamed. They felt shame. And this was like a new thing for humanity. And they were cold. And one of the things that happens when you're dope sick is like your junk kind of shrivels up a little bit. You get very uneasy and self-conscious. So that's why they finally they had to cover up and they left. They left the garden in shame, afraid to look God in the eye. And that's the separation from God, this feeling of being alone and isolated in the world. That's all that is. That's all it is. It's just this feeling of shame because it's like your mom catching you with your hand in the cookie jar, you know? And when she catches you, what are you doing? And you're like, you get scared. And the cookie jar falls off the fridge and it crashes on the floor and it spills and makes a big mess. And you run out the back door and you hide in the bushes outside. And your mom is like, you need to get in here right now and clean up this mess. I don't even want to look at you until you clean up this mess. But you're scared because you don't, you fucked up. You did wrong. So you run away. You hop the fence and you're like, oh, maybe I'll just go to my friend's house. Maybe I'll go hang out in the park. But then it gets dark. And now you're like, oh man, my mom's going to be so mad at me. I can't go back now because she's going to be even more mad because it's getting dark out. So you stay out longer. A couple days go by. You're hungry, so you got to figure something out. So you start stealing to eat. You start doing more things, crossing new lines in the sand that you didn't even know existed, stretching the boundaries of your personal limits of what's acceptable. And before you know it, it's forever has gone by and you've lost touch completely. And you don't think you could ever look at each other again. And as like humanity, maybe that's kind of what happened. And like all that's necessary is just go home. Just go home and say, hey, I'm sorry. I'm sorry that I left. I'm sorry that I was embarrassed. I'm sorry that I disobeyed you, and I'm sorry that I lied about it. And I'll clean up the mess if I can. Still, if I can, if I still need to clean it up, I will. And if you want me to make a new cookie jar, I will. If you want me to help, can we just bake some cookies together? That'd be great. Maybe that's all that's necessary. Maybe we just got to go home first. So that's what I kind of got in my head, and I thought. I thought, oh, by the way, I was in my house and I was naked. I should probably mention that part. I stripped all my clothes off because I was getting uncomfortable, feeling constrained. And so, so I was looking out my patio doors and the sun was coming through and it was so fucking beautiful. And I was looking down and I could see like the way the sun was coming through over the trees and it was shining this light on this pond down the street from my house, and it was almost like it was guiding me there. And I opened up my patio door and I was like, I just have to go home. It's all I have to do. And I ran out of my house at like 5:30, 6 in the morning, fucking totally naked, ran down the street, just happy as a motherfucker, a big smile on my face. And I get down there and I'm just standing near the water and just looking at the sky like, wow. And then I look and I see a figure. I see what looks like a man walking toward me. on this little path that goes along like the water, or along the water bank, and I was like, oh, maybe this is like a messenger. Maybe he has a message for me. So I sit on this bench, and I'm just sitting there, and this guy, he's walking by, and I looked at him like, do you have something for me? He's like, what? No, don't fucking talk to me. I'm like, oh, no? Oh, okay, you're not, okay, you're not, okay. I guess he's not. I guess he's not the messenger. I was like, actually, I think he might be a bad person. I think he might be like, I think he's still content walking in the dark. And then I started like, my mind is just a flurry, just racing. All the questions that humanity's ever asked going through my mind all at once. And the big one, the big question. You know what the big question is, Aaliyah, right?
What does it all mean?
Yeah, why? 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 And suddenly the answer was right there. The answer was right there, as if it had been there the whole time. Do you know the answer?
Mm-mm.
Would you like to know?
Sure.
Really? Wow, because sometimes I ask people if they want to know the answer to why, and they say no. They're afraid to know the answer, or maybe they just want to wait and figure it out for themselves. But it's really not that complicated. And when I tell you, you're gonna be like, you probably won't believe me because it's gonna seem too simple. Are you ready?
Sure.
The answer to why is why not? I'm serious. That's it. That's the answer. Why not? And I know answering a question with a question seems, maybe counterintuitive, but yeah, why not? And why not answer a question with a question? It just opens the door to, having more thought, more discussion, more learning, more growing. These are good things. So I'm sitting there knowing, all the answers to the universe in existence and all that. And thinking like, yeah, I just have to go home. So I jumped in the water. And you remember me mentioning before about, I've survived drowning a few times? Well, a big part of that is because I'm not a very strong swimmer. Despite the fact that I'm a water sign, being a Scorpio, as you two are, that doesn't necessarily mean that we're like, avid swimmers. Um, Actually, I have something of what do you call it? Um, oh, what's the word I'm trying to say? An
Oh,
aversion to water to some extent. I've never even really been much of a bather, to be honest. But uh,
you should change that.
what are you trying to say? I smell bad?
I'm kidding.
You like the Pat Funk, I'm sure.
I wouldn't
That,
know. I'm 30 plus miles away.
yeah, fair enough. Um, so, so yeah, I'm not a strong swimmer. But I dove in and I started swimming toward the middle of the pond. And I mean, it's not like a huge body of water. I would say like from the bank that I jumped in from to the other side, it's, I don't know, probably like 50 feet. And it's not terribly deep in all parts. Uh, but I mean, it's not everywhere you go. It's not necessarily. I mean, like when I first jumped in, like my feet weren't touching the bottom. And some parts were like it's so thick with like vines and shit, and like uh uh I mean, they're almost like lily pads, kind of, just all over. And I was swimming through it, and like eventually my feet were getting caught in this shit, and it was like starting to kind of drag me down. And my mind interpreted this, because of all the acid that I ate, as being more of an antagonistic presence, and it was like handsy. Like this shit was like grabbing me and trying to like pull me, like submerge me. And I remember then turning on my back, so I'm now swimming backward, and I'm like kicking my feet through into the water, but like kicking away from all of this stuff. And I'm yelling at it like, no, no, fuck you, fuck you, fuck you, as I like stomp my way backward away from this shit. This is trying to pull me underwater. And it was, though, it was pulling me under. And I got like to the middle of the pond. And and I started, and I was able to, I got freed up. And and I was like, just kind of swimming through, like doing like big breaststrokes. And all of a sudden, I I I felt myself rising kind of up out of the water. And it was almost like I was like drying off and feeling like the warmth of the sun hitting my body. And I looked down and I realized I'm standing on the water in the middle of the pond, and I'm looking down, and I look all around me, and I'm in the middle of this fucking pond, totally naked, with this morning sun glistening all over my body. Cold, but not in a bad way. I mean, I'm sure like it wasn't the most presentable that my cock and balls have ever been. It was a chilly morning, but 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 I didn't care. And I was just with my arms out, just like, oh my god, it's real. It's fucking real. I've been so blind all this time, not accepting this love that's just been waiting for me, just waiting for me to come home. And then I was suddenly struck with this air of doubt. And I went to go take like a step, kind of like in like one direction, to like maybe trying to pivot, and then I splashed down back into the water, and I sank to the bottom, and I was completely submerged, and I was like struggling to get out of the water, and I couldn't. And I was breathing in the water, and but it didn't hurt. And I started to wonder, like, oh, maybe this is part of it, maybe this is necessary. So I started taking in the water on purpose and not fighting it. And I was like taking big deep breaths of water, inhaling the water, accepting it. And I started to have this idea that, like, well, maybe I'll just be born again. Maybe that's how I'll go into this new life. This transition of, like, I'm like kind of half expecting to, like, pop my head out of a vagina. And be like, oh, maybe that's what that bright light is. Hey, doc. And then all of a sudden I heard something, and I popped my head out, and I my head's just out of the water, and I'm kind of just sort of waiting. And and I look over, and I hear somebody yelling, asking me if I'm okay, and I look over and I can see that it's a police officer. And he's like, "Hey, what are you doing?" "Nothing." "Oh, you want to come over here and talk to me for a second?" "No, I'm cool. I'm good." There was something very suspicious about this man with the badge. I don't know. I felt like I couldn't trust him. He's like, "No, come here. I just want to talk to you." It's like, nah, I think he's lying to me. I think he's just pretending to be nice. It's like, "No, I'm okay. I don't think I want to do that." "No, no, come here. It's okay." I'm like, "Nah, I'm good." And then he yells, he's like, what did he say? "Do you know what day it is?" Can you imagine? Ask me what day is it. I'm like, uh, Friday? What's the date? I'm like, uh, the 13th, you know? And I was right, but it was like, why does he want to know what day it is? Doesn't he know? God, what is with this guy? And yeah, he's asked me to come over there, and I'm like, "No, I don't think I want to." He's like, "I don't believe you." Like, I don't think I want to trust you. But then I look over and I see these very, like, very young looking faces, like almost like cherub like very very pale but rosy cheeked fellas over, and they were paramedics, and they were on the other side of the bank of the pond, and I don't know how the hell they got over there with all the weird viney shit, but they were like, "Hey man, you want to come over here? Let us help you out." And I looked at their faces and I was like, "Yeah, yeah, I do." Like, I could see in these guys' faces, like, they weren't full of shit. They genuinely were interested in being helpful. You know, they took on their job because they have a deep concern and compassion for other human beings. Whereas this joker over here, this chucklehead with the badge, no, he just wants to be a dick. And so I'm like, okay. So I swim over to them and I'm trying to climb out of this shit, and it was so fucking hard because, like, just the vines and the sticks and everything. I'm cutting my feet all to hell. And they helped me out, and they wrapped me up in this big fucking blanket that they had, which was nice because I was very naked still and wet and cold. And they walked me, like, around the pond and back through the park area and toward an ambulance, and I'm like seeing the lights, and there's like people standing around, like, emergency type people, and then there's like some of my neighbors, I assume. Yeah, people that probably saw me down there with Daisy and my other dog that I had at the time, Evie, who would often see me down there playing with them, like, "Hey, isn't that the guy that's always down here with those dogs?" uh and like they walk me over to the ambulance, and I get in, and they put me on the gurney thing and start checking my vitals and whatnot. And this cop comes up. It's a town of Madison police officer, not the same guy that was yelling at me. But he comes up. He's like, "Hey man, hey listen, look, uh, I'll make a deal with you if you're willing to go with these people here to the hospital and just get just talk to somebody. We won't press any charges against you." I was like, "That's cool." Right on. My privilege saves me once again. Uh, and he's like, "But I gotta ask you, man, what were you doing out there?" Now I couldn't just say, you know, that I was just out for some fresh air, like this fucking Robert Anderson. I was out for some fresh air. No, I had to give, a more personalized answers, something that, something that was true. I mean, this guy is just out for some fresh air. I mean, maybe that was true. Who knows? Who am I to say? But I had to go a little deeper than that because I'm me. I'm Patrick Kempfer, and like, I'm brutal with my honesty, right? So when this guy's like, "So what were you doing out there?" Just getting closer to God. He's like, "I'm sorry, what?" you you were what? Just getting closer to God. Okay. All right. Well, yeah, so just go with them and good luck. So they close it up and take me to Meritor, and they put me, they wheel me in and have it, people check me out. Doctor comes in and they examine me, and strangely, I'm fine. I mean, aside from like my feet and hands being cut from like, all the vines and the branches and shit, um they didn't have there was no water in my lungs. I don't know how that's possible because I was breathing this water in deeply, and somehow it just wasn't there. And I couldn't have hallucinated that. I mean, I know I was fucking sucking in water. Um, then again, I also saw myself standing on water. So I don't know. The doctors examined me, said I was fine, and then they told me that this social worker, whatever that that I was supposed to talk to, was busy with some other person for something, and they said like, well, there's nothing medically wrong with you, so we can't technically hold you. Like, do you want to wait and talk to this person? I was like, I mean, I can. I mean, I don't know. I kind of want to wash all this fucking gunk off me. Can I just like come back later? So I agreed. I was like, I'll leave. I'll just come back later. I just live down the street. So I agreed to go home and I would wash up and come back. So I did. I went home and fucking so that they gave me a cab voucher. I get home and uh, I guess it was a good thing that I left my fucking patio door wide open because I obviously didn't have my keys. I didn't have pockets, you know, being naked and all. But the dogs were still inside, so that was cool. And they were happy to see me. And I went and soaked in my tub. And then I heard the dogs barking downstairs. I'm like, oh shit, what now? So I go and I look over the banister and I see that this, like, the cop, the one that asked me what I was doing in the water, was knocking on the door and the dogs were barking at him. So I'm like, oh, well, I better put some clothes on. I don't want to have to greet the cops naked twice in one day. So I get dressed and I go down. Now he's gone from the door, but now he's managed to find his way into the building, and he's knocking on my hall door, and like, oh wait, no, I'm sorry, I got that backwards. He started out knocking on that door and then came around to the patio. So I open the door and I sit outside. I go outside with him, and he's like, "Hey man, I tried to meet you at the hospital, but they said that you'd left." I'm like, well, yeah, they said I didn't have to stay, and the person was busy anyway. I told him I'd come back. He's like, well, look, man, I just want to make sure that you're all right, because I mean, we were called because somebody thought you were drowning out there, that you were struggling in the water, and then when I looked at you and talked to you, just I was concerned that maybe you were maybe having some issues. I was like, well, I can't really tell this guy that I'm on acid, right? Because I think that's still technically against the law in all the states. Probably a pretty serious felony. Not that they were going to bust me with like internal possession, but still, I've known people that have had run-ins with the police while on acid, and that became like known information, and it was made so much worse. Like they were basically having bad trips, and then like they get hospitalized and strapped to a fucking a chair or a bed, and then pumped full of like Thorazine and left alone, and that's just awful. And yeah, I didn't want to deal with any of that shit. So I basically told him that I had a bit of a break, that I had been dealing with a lot of stress. I told him basically like, who I was and what I was doing at the time, in all my community works, and all the things I was involved in. And I suffered a lot of losses and tragedies, and I think I just kind of snapped, and I just needed to do something drastic, something crazy, just to kind of, I don't know, like it was like an acting out thing, but I wasn't trying to hurt myself or anybody. And he's like, well, I'd feel a lot better, if you could just maybe just come with me to like the crisis center and just talk to somebody, just so they can just kind of check you out, and just maybe there's something they can do, set you up with somebody else to talk to. I was like, you know what? That's fair, man. Like, I really appreciate you like coming over here and genuinely just wanting to make sure that I'm all right. Like, I respect that. I appreciate that. On a humanitarian level, I think that's really fucking noble of you. So yeah, I'll totally do that. So I you know, put my shoes on and made sure the dogs were secure. I got my keys and agreed to let him drive me down there. And I didn't have any fear, getting in the back seat of his car. He didn't cuff me or anything, and he walked me into the place, and they helped me. They just heard me out, and that's really the thing, is I just needed someone to talk to. I just needed someone to listen to me, that I knew wasn't going to judge me in any way, or throw me under the bus, or tell me that, like, oh no man, you're fine, you got this, like, yeah, you'll be all right, because that was the problem too, is like when I would try to open the dialogue up with somebody about me struggling, they would say like, oh man, it's going to be okay, you got this, because I was the guy everybody came to for, to get answers, to their problems, to find the solution to like their dilemma. So of course, like I knew what to do. I knew how to solve my problem. I knew how to fix it, because I always had the answers for everybody else. Well, this was the time that I didn't know what to do. I didn't have the answers. And so when people would just dismiss it, as say like, oh yeah, man, you'll be fine, you know what to do. Like what? Go to some meetings, pray on it, talk to my sponsor, do some step work. Like that was not solving my problem. None of those things were helping. Meditating wasn't helping. Uh, Going to people that knew more than me wasn't helping. When people talking to people that knew less than me wasn't helping. Nothing was helping. And I sure as hell couldn't find the answers in myself. So it was nice to finally be able to just tell somebody that, and have them take it in. And I was able to link back up with my former therapist too for a while, so that was nice. So ultimately, it was a really good thing that happened to me. I don't regret it at all. I am fortunate that I did not get charged with what was it again? What was Mr. Anderson charged with? Naked boys in backyards for some fresh air. Lewd and
Lewd and
lascivious
lascivious behavior.
behavior. And thankfully, I wasn't on probation, so this wasn't going to add to my problems. Um, but yeah, sometimes we just need to shake things up a little bit, you know, just to see where things go. And so those are things about me that now none of you can unknow. I'm a guy who ate acid, ran out of his house naked, jumped in some water, walked on it, almost drowned, and just trying to get closer to God. Good times. So, questions, comments, concerns?
No,
I've rendered her speechless once again.
it's late.
Yes, yes, it is.
Yeah.
We've only been talking for an hour and 45 minutes. Well, I've been talking for an hour and 45 minutes. Well, I mean, there must be some questions or comments you must have. You have to be the voice of the people here. Like you have to imagine what some of the people listening might be thinking and wondering. And you have to be their voice.
It's a lot of pressure. I can't speak for everybody.
Not for everybody, but I mean, you can. I'm sure you could perhaps speak for some. I mean, there must be some things on your mind, some things you're wondering. Just maybe just some commentary.
I mean, it's a long story to get to the point. But, I don't know. I really don't. But I think if it served you well in the moment, then it was probably a good experience to have. People experience different things in different ways and get to their answers in different ways. And while the methodology probably wasn't the healthiest, you at least saw some clarity.
Yeah, I agree. Yeah, not the safest route to go through, or to get to some clarity, but yeah, it definitely eased uh, a large degree of tension that I had, and opened my mind up to just not feeling so alone in my troubles. Unfortunately, things did not fully improve from that point on because, well, I felt compelled to share this story with people in my circle then. And come to find out, people in the recovery community were not real keen on not only the fact that I mean, obviously they were not keen or, happy about me having used an illegal psychedelic drug. Um, they all very much consider that a relapse and were more than urgent in their ways of trying to encourage me to also to consider that a relapse. um uh so I wasn't recognizing it that way, and they thought it was dangerous for me to be talking about it as if it was some sort of success story for me, that it would then, because of my influence and my reputation in in the community, that that could be detrimental to others. I'd be setting a bad example, and this was exactly what had feared would happen if I were to you know admit that I was struggling to begin with, that like I had this great pull and you know, my image, my character, my reputation was so strong that you know, if I faltered in any way, that and it became known, it was gonna everything was just gonna blow up in my face, and that is what happened. Sadly, um, I was ostracized and condemned and ultimately sort of exiled in a way, and it was really sad, and I was very unhappy about that for a long time, and I tried to come back, you know, 2 years later, and you know, try to regain some standing with people and and mend some of those relationships that I lost. But you know, I'd sort of seen a side of people that I didn't know existed before, and it was just like too real. It was like, wow, you know, like I felt very hurt and disappointed by many. And now as things are, you know, I've forgiven those people that I felt betrayed me and abandoned me. I appreciate that, you know, a lot of my resentment and hurt was created by me and things that I was unwilling to accept at the time, and I definitely escalated things, um, made things more personal than they needed to be at times, and you know, and things are just what they are, and as it is now, I don't hold any grudges. Uh, I don't believe necessarily that everything happens for a reason, but I believe that we can place reason to anything, and so that no things have to be in vain, and and I'm grateful for all of these experiences, even the bad ones, because they've all making they've all made my experience fuller and offered me a greater perspective and gratitude for my life. So I appreciate all of that, and I appreciate you.
Thank you.
Yeah, I appreciate you for listening, and I appreciate all of you out there too. If you're actually still listening and bearing with me through this, God, if you're on asleep by now, I don't know. I mean, I've heard that my voice has a tendency to be um, what's the word, uh, sub subduing? No, that's not a word. No,
Sedating.
sedating. Yeah, I guess sedating would be, yeah. it's like it's like I could not hypnotize, but yeah, like put somebody in like a meditative state, perhaps. I don't know. Like if I couldn't see you on my screen, I would have wondered several times if you had actually fallen asleep to the sound of my voice.
There were a couple times it came close.
Well, I'm sorry if I was boring you.
No, it wasn't boring. It was just like,
Just so soothing.
yeah.
Yeah, the cadence of my voice. I could just sit here and just go. "Hmm," just for like a really long time, maybe.
No, that's not soothing. Stop.
No. Okay.
No.
All right. Well, yeah. No, I do appreciate you listening. I appreciate everyone taking the time out of their busy lives to join me here and reminisce and reflect on these crazy things. and if for no other reason, just to amuse ourselves. But hopefully, it serves a greater purpose and brings some perspective and insight to others. That yeah, we do crazy shit, and sometimes they end badly for us, and sometimes they offer us an opportunity to discover better solutions. So, all right, we will close up the episode, and I will wish you all a good day and a pleasant evening and a good morning wherever you happen to be at in your cycle of life, in your 24. And until next time, this is Pat Kempfer, the most Madison motherfucker you'll ever meet, saying be safe out there. And don't give up, okay? Don't give up on you. Don't give up on those around you. We're all just doing our best. And sometimes, it might not look like much, but it gets you through the day. That's what it is. All right. Bye for now.
Quiet night.